Cool. All right. Welcome, everyone, to Design for Good Detroit 2021, our wrap up event. If you are just now figuring out about what Design for Good Detroit is, it has been our month long hackathon where teams of incredible designers from both across the Metro Detroit area as well as some around the world have participated to help six local Detroit nonprofits with various marketing, design needs, and stuff. We're going to be showing off some of the great work that they've done over the past month and celebrate what good design here is in Detroit and making design that has like a strong social impact. So this is an event that was put on by AIGA Detroit. AIGA Detroit is your local chapter of the AIGA nonprofit. We are a membership organization for designers and creatives here in Southeast Michigan. We're your home for events, education, networking opportunities, and great events like this where we try and give back to the community. And this was put on as part of the Detroit Month of Design, which has been celebrating the past month, celebrating Detroit as a UNESCO City of Design and a hotbed for design and innovation here in the Midwest. Put on by Design Core Detroit, who's a great partner of ours. I want to shout them out. I think there are 3 events still left in the month, so if you go to the Detroit Month of Design website, you can check out the schedule, maybe hit one of those up before the month's over. So first want to start off by saying thank you to the volunteers. I love each and every single one of you. You've been such a powerhouse, and I'm really excited to show everyone who's watching what great work they've done today. It's really remarkable to see what they produced. So we're going to kick it right off. Let's start with At Bat Detroit. So who's going to be presenting for At Bat Detroit today?
We have 3 different deliverables, so we're each going to be presenting our own little part.
Cool. Just tell me when to hit next slide and I'll hit it.
Yeah, I can start it out. So for At-Bat, we came up with a huge brainstorm and we ended up with 3 separate deliverables. And if you want to go to the next slide. So the first one is the trading card set. There's a total of 17 trading cards in this set, I believe. And they're all showing famous African-American baseball players. These cards will be given out to the kids, hopefully getting them excited about baseball, learning more about the players, some of the history of the players, and really just a fun, exciting way to get them more involved with the program. I went through a few rounds of edits with these, and we ended up with this kind of vintage looking style. You can't see too much of the detail here, but they're going to turn out really cool when they're printed, I hope. And then if you want to go to the next slide for the next part.
Yeah, so actually,
okay.
Go ahead, Jay.
Okay. Well, we'll both intermix it out. But so me and Kendra worked on our second deliverable, which was creating a video over the basics of baseball. So At Bat is a nonprofit that works to bring more kids into learning about baseball, playing baseball, and then also learning about STEM through baseball. So we saw this as a really cool opportunity to make it into a fun little video. So another thing that At Bat really wanted was to get more kids coming. So to reach out to parents and raise awareness of the nonprofit. So we thought it would be great to make a little bit of a video to showcase and give a sample of what At Bat does. So here are some storyboards that we have. We were really wanting to kind of go with the retro 50s, original, well, kind of like ballpark feel. And so here's a little bit of what we had to start with. You can go to the next slide whenever.
Yep, and these are just
and so not to have you guys watch through the entire video, go ahead, Kendra, take it away.
No, exactly. We did a couple of GIFs just to show the clips of the animation. The first one is just the title slide. The second one is kind of touched on the storyboard about like running around the bases. And then we did a little bit of a STEM one where we showed the core of the baseball and kind of symbolized that and reflects that with the core of the earth.
And our last deliverable is some fun with stencils. So one kind of alternate way that we came up with for getting that word out and advertising at bat.org was to create these designs for stencils so that they can be given to the volunteers to go out in the neighborhoods and to use specifically chalk paint for these, so they can be easily removed with the rain, but can also be arranged in different ways. So just another way of getting the word out there in a maybe more unique manner. And that is, those are our 3 deliverables that we did for At Bat.
That's incredible. I can't believe you produced some like amazing GIFs, baseball cards too. Like such a great and like obvious like solution to that. And like, listen, as somebody who's done a lot of chalk art before, chalk stencils, yes, I'm so in love with it. Great job, team. I hope At Bat really appreciates these and gets to use them. So again, can you say the name, your 3 names as well, and just like want to shout you out and make sure that everyone knows who you are?
I'm Elise.
I'm Jenny.
Our names, right?
Awesome.
I'm Sasha.
Thank you, Sasha. Great. Well, thank you all. Well, wonderful work as always. We'll be sure to put some of this stuff up on social media as well. Show it off as well. So cool. Next, we're going to be talking about Canfield Consortium. This is a nonprofit neighborhood organization focused in on a neighborhood over on the east side of Detroit, kind of between Mack and Warren, just west of the Chrysler plant, if you kind of know generally that area. Beautiful green spaces, etc. So who's going to be talking a little bit about Canfield with us today?
Hi, I'll present. Great.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Madeline. I'll be presenting for my team. Actually, I think you might have skipped a slide. If you could go back one. Yes, okay. Okay, so yeah, so we worked with the Canfield Consortium, and Rhonda and Kim are doing really amazing work on the east side. So to kick off the project, we did a site visit. So we could see all of the land that they've already developed, in addition to some of their future goals that they're working on. So we just have some images here of the existing space. They have a couple flower gardens. In the bottom right corner there, you can see when the day that we visited, the pavilion and art park were just starting to be constructed. Now there's art there, and I think they've made some progress on the landscaping and everything. So it's really exciting. Also wanted to share just an image of the new sidewalks, which is, they've really kind of organized and talked to the city, and kind of talked to the right people to really invest in that community, to build the infrastructure that they need to like make it a really great neighborhood that's livable for families, and make it kind of like safe and welcoming for people to explore the neighborhood and all these different things that they're doing. So they have a couple of goals in future projects. They're going to build a community resource center. They've purchased a home that they're rehabbing to make that happen in. They're creating activated alleyways in the neighborhood where there will be like small business pop-ups and things like that. In addition to flower gardens and native flora gardens. And then the most exciting thing for me is the Canfield Connect, which will be a greenway that kind of sneaks its way from Brewer Park to Pingree Park. Okay, so we can go into the next slide. So the main things they were looking for were wayfinding signage, as well as a map that kind of denoted all of the spaces that they've already created and everything that's upcoming. So we did a little research. I really looked to some things happening here in Detroit, particularly the Detroit Riverfront and the Kindercut, which I think has kind of similar programming. And so we sort of looked at the types of wayfinding signage that they did and identified that like the most important things are having a map available and making sure that people know where they are in relation to the other sites. Next slide. So we created a map that includes both the sites that are already kind of up and running, and then also the sites that are future sites that are in development right now. So we kind of identified, Rhonda and Kim identified the borders of kind of their area of focus. And then we just plotted all of those out here. Another thing, our teammate Jamie, she created this interactive map, which I have a link to in the presentation if anyone's curious, but that's really cool. She has all the sites kind of plotted out, and we have a QR code that can actually lead to that interactive map. So if you see one of these signs, you can navigate to that interactive map and kind of see where everything else is in a really easy way. And next slide. So the next deliverable was wayfinding signs. So we wanted to accomplish a couple things with these. We wanted to identify the sites and the locations, provide a little bit of an opportunity to shout out sponsors and grants. Obviously the maps themselves. So across the different sites, they'll have a "you are here" kind of denotation for each one. And then at the bottom there, we have a little bit about the Canfield Consortium. So we have a mission statement and then the QR code, which would lead to their homepage for anyone who can find out more. And we're still kind of working on this. We developed kind of two directions, one of which is just like one sign that would print for each one. And the other one is more of a system where the map could actually just be printed out at like Kinko's or wherever and like slid into a frame. So as they start adding new sites, it'll be super duper easy and cost effective to update because these ladies are moving fast. So we want to keep up with that. Next slide. So the final deliverable was kind of ideas for a future extension, which is the Canfield Connect, which is that greenway. So we took inspiration from their existing brand, which they just had a beautiful new logo designed. And we kind of took that language and made an additional lockup for the Canfield Connect to make it kind of ownable and start to develop like a brand system for them. And we just started rolling that out for the specific needs that, you know, like a trail like that would need. So mile markers and things like that. And that's where we're at. Excited to see where they take it.
That's so great. Oh man. This park is located somewhat by my side of town, so I'm excited to like ride through the greenway on my way to and from work. So that's so great.
Me too.
Thanks again, y'all. Next, we've got Heidelberg projects, Heidelberg Art Leadership Academy. Who's going to be presenting with that?
Hello.
We're going to kind of tag team it. But hey, everybody. I'm Charmin. I am one of the founders of the Heidelberg Arts Leadership Academy, also known as HALA. And just an overview, we are the educational arm of the Heidelberg Project. Next slide, please. And we kind of started off our journey with Ian and Ryan by just talking about what we have already done and then kind of talk to them about what our future plans are. So this is just an overview of what our program is and what we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. We've been working in Detroit schools with students in 4th to 12th grade, empowering them to be change agents in their community. We focus on creative expression, social justice, and academic enrichment. And so these are the current classes that we offer, but we are starting a new initiative, which is what we were super grateful to be a part of this opportunity for. And that is on the next slide. Kisa?
I'm here. I'm sorry I'm having technical. Hi everyone, good evening. So I'm Kisa. We had such an amazing time working with our team. So our new initiative, Navigating Purpose, is specifically focused on career pathways and career prep for our high school students with our partner high schools. So one of the amazing things that we did during this journey was come up with that specific name for a project. So that was something that our designers nudged us to do in the moment. And it was like, yeah, it's time. Let's do that. So we took some polls from our teens and then made a decision and came up with navigating purpose. So it's good to have that focus and that pointed like just guidance on this is a priority to help us get to the project goal. So like I said, we're going to be focused on 10th and 12th graders. The journey with our high school students is going to begin with what is their passion, right? And how do you navigate what your career dream is, and what can that look like? It doesn't look like what it looks like for the baby boomers, as we all know. So just having that heart-to-heart conversation in a safe space, in a creative space, and then pairing them with mentors for 4 months to have a paid apprenticeship within the city of Detroit, with corporations, with entrepreneurs, with nonprofits. And I'm going to pass the mic to Ryan and Ian now, so they can share what we came up with.
Sweet. Thank you, Kisa.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm Ryan. Ian as well is here. And so once we talked to Kisa and Charmin, something we realized was like, yeah, like you need a strong brand name, and you need to really be about it and something that it means something to you. So after volleying back and forth with their team, they landed on Navigating Purpose, which gave Ian and I a good platform to start designing from, because we decided with a two-man team that like the best thing for them was just like solid branding. Like, what are you about? Like, what is going to look good on a small, tiny square? And that was kind of what our focus was, to give them just strength in their branding, so that when they move forward with this program, I'm sure it's going to be successful, but maybe it'll have a cool look to it. So this was the final logo we landed on, and there's some process stuff we'll go into next. But I would just say overall, the logo itself is like a representation of a moving up and forward. Kisa and Charmin had talked about how, as the baby boomers, there isn't such a lateral, or there isn't such like a linear route. You have to come lateral. People have two different hustles now, or people are not just settled on one thing, or you don't have to go to college. You can do a trade. You can do a lot of things. And I think they're opening up kids' eyes to have like a better chance of success in things that I don't think, like, if I would have ran into them as a kid, I think it would have had a big impact on me. So I think this logo is representative of that. And that's the reason for the arrow. So we can move to the next one, please. Okay, cool. So, and Ian, feel free to jump in here. I know you're here too. So I don't know if you want to jump in at all.
You're doing great.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to.
All right, cool. I just don't want to, I didn't want to, minimalize or anything like that. Because definitely this was like all, him and I together. So the first phase on the left is our logo sketches that Ian and I had come up with. So we took a lot of what they gave us was obviously navigation. And, we felt like that was like a focal point that we could have visuals for. It was like navigating, whether it was land, water, or air. It kind of speaks to where your career could be in any of these kind of facets. So there was a lot of like navigating, motion, direction. And so that's kind of where we stayed on the left side initially. And then what they were feeling was more of like the arrows. After talking to Kisa and Charmin, and they had spoke to their team, they liked that directional route, but they're like, what if we were to invert some of those arrows and keep some out? So you have some in, some out, and just kind of showing that rapid movement going in different directions. So we're like, okay. So we went to phase two, and phase two, Ian and I mocked up some more that were very arrow focused. We kind of let go of the navigation, and we stayed more arrow focused and directional. And those were kind of the ideas we had churned out from there. You can see there's kind of a variety, but it's definitely way more focused on the right than it is on the left. And that's just showing to the phase and the communication that all the four of us had, and what made it more of a success. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so the primary logo, I kind of gave you guys some insight but the primary logo, I just want to read from this, is used in any and all situations. The logo should always be used on a light background with a dark turquoise and yellow arrow. In certain situations, it can be reversed to accommodate its use. And if possible, you could further it with a gradient. So we have those solid colors because obviously, you know, when you're a brand, you need something solid. And a lot of the examples I used, and they'll know I brought it up, was McDonald's. It's like, I'm sorry, when I think about branding, one of the strongest brands in the world is McDonald's. Love them or hate them. So it's like you have to have a solid color. But definitely, like in these situations, if you have a DTG printer and you want to do like fun colors, there's that fun way of the gradient. So still strong branding, still that arrow sticks out super clear, but you know, there's that kind of like fun level to it. Can you go to the next one, please? So then the next phase, after figuring out the design and like the image that they may want to look like, was pairing fonts that went with it. So we actually volleyed back and forth between the four of us, and we posed the question to them of like, what kind of letter language works for you guys? And after talking to their team, Kisa and Charmin had showed us a few examples, and what they really liked were like sans serifs. But what Ian and I noticed is that they had like playful elements to them. So what we wanted to do was give them a body of type that they could use for their ongoing projects, online and offline, print and web, that would give them consistent branding, even in their letters. And further, we didn't want to just be like, hey, we found this type on, expensivetype.com and it costs, $150 a license it a year. We didn't want to put them in that position. So being a nonprofit, so we decided that we wanted to find them font that was inside the Google Fonts house, which is super cool. It's an open format type. So they're opens for licensing. You don't have to go and certify anything. You can continue to use these types or fonts immediately into your branding, and you don't have to get an okay from anyone, and they're good to go. So for the headline, we picked the Laundria solid black. It has that wobbly, but it's still, clean sans serif. And then subhead, the Coolin, which was 100% sans serif. And then the body, which is still sans serif, but a lot thinner and easier to read, which I'm just going to say it. I still thought it was funny, is that Montserrat, which I found out is an important city. Also, to me, it looked like Montserrat, and I couldn't get it out of my head. So now you guys have to see it.
You don't even call it Montserrat. It's just Montserrat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just Montserrat. Okay, go to the next one, please. And then so for the branding, after like volleying back and forth again, these were the colors they pulled from consistent branding they already had, but kind of like twisting it a little bit. So they were using yellows and greens, but they wanted to twist it on this next tier program. And so these are the kind of the brand colors we've designed for them to stay within branding. So you got the teals, the yellows, the off-white, and the white. And then next one, please. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So anybody else on front team, feel free to jump in, but that's like the overall project.
If I could just real quick, it was an absolute treat getting to work with everybody on this team. I really hope we got to set you guys up for success with all of your branding needs, and I think we made something great together.
Yes, absolutely. It's good.
Yep. Thank y'all. And also just a reminder, you are opening up applications for Navigating Purpose here shortly, right?
Yes, like in a week.
Great.
So it's perfect timing. Being involved with this partnership, it was really just exactly what we needed. So we had so much fun. We love our team so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Ryan and Ian is going to be part of Holla forever.
Recruited.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, y'all. Yeah, and so if you know any kids who might be great for Navigating Purpose, be sure to head over to Heidelberg's Holla and sign up. It'll be really great, and you can see it in action too. Mm-hmm. Cool. So next, we're gonna move on to Hope Village. Hope Village is another neighborhood organization. This time over on the west side. In the area surrounding the, I guess that's like north of Davison, kind of by the Parkman Library branch, if any of you are familiar with Parkman. So let's go to Hope Village. Who's going to be talking about Hope Village with us today?
It'll be me and then Nicole kind of going
Awesome. Thanks,
back and
Catherine.
forth a little bit. So in the rebranding process, one of the main goals was to get them a new logo. So starting out, we did some brainstorming in terms of what they're actually looking for, understanding the brand and some of the key terminologies that came out when discussing their services and their contributions to the neighborhood, as well as some of the other components that they work in, like the farmers market. So a lot of the things that were coming up were, you know, around sustainability, being environmentally friendly, revitalization, greenery. So those were some of the things that we were really wanting to take into consideration in the logos. I don't know if you want to go to the next screen. So this was one of their original logos. It was just really text oriented, mostly just typed out with this kind of bottom piece. They did want to keep the kind of green aspect to it. That was a color that they really felt strongly about. So that was something that we tried to make sure that we continue to incorporate. So we did some sketches for them. The previous page was just kind of our brainstorming activity in terms of generating some of those ideas and keywords. So arrows, symmetry, green, togetherness, you know, community focused, clean and simple. So those were some of the key components that we looked at in terms of how we want to go forward in our brainstorming activity to sketch out some new logos. So the next page is just the actual sketches of some of the logos that we created, looking at different shapes and configurations. From there, we narrowed it down into some other options that we met with the team, and they chose from a few options that we presented. So I want to go forward. These were some of the inspirations. Nicole, I don't know if you want to talk to that or not.
I will just say that my inspiration is a little less linear than I think maybe some other people might be inspired by, but these were just ones that I'm very shape driven. So these were ones that I was just looking at that talked to me about coming together and connection.
So these were some of our initial concepts. These were the ones that we kind of segmented down and looked at presenting to the team. So we had 6 options for them to choose from, and they could make revisions to any of the options that they liked. The first one, the top left, was the one that they decided to pursue further. So we kind of continued to make some adjustments to that and see it in different orientations, how it looks on different sizings for printing with and without the revitalization, and then with and without the kind of architecture of the buildings. Going forward, looking at how it looks printed in different aspects. So example of goods would be their business cards, any potential merchandising that they would want to have, and then as well as creating some templates for them to use
for any proposals or internal documents, external documents that they're using, and then helping them with some of their copy editing.
Awesome. Well, thank you. This is what a great brand this is. I love just also the range of concepts that you guys came up with. Like, what a really cool direction to kind of see it like focus in, and like you can definitely see where it came from. The inspiration. Like I was just saying in chat, like there's some very like Saul Bassey sort of like graphics in here, which is awesome. Well, wonderful. Thanks a ton. Definitely make sure to head over to Hope Village. Check out their farmers markets, which is on Thursdays, I believe. Wednesdays. Sorry, Wednesdays. It's close. But yeah, definitely check them out. Great neighborhood, great area. I personally really love the Parkman Library branch over there. It's the best branch of DPL if you're looking for a place to work out of. Yeah, so thanks all, Team Hope. Great. Let's move on to the Motown Glory Partners. Motown Glory Partners is another community development corporation focusing on the neighborhood just around the Motown Museum, if you know where that is, kind of off of Grand Boulevard, just west of New Center over there. So they're helping to get these houses into the hands of the neighbors in this area, and like working to revitalize this community and keep it focused in on the community rather than the big development corporation. So it's a really great mission. Who would like to talk about Motown Glory? Might have to be me because I was helping out on this one, so we'll go for it. Cool. So some of the inspiration that we kind of pulled from here was a lot of these like bright and colorful graphics. We if you look back at the original logo, there's a lot of focus on kind of these like 2D building shapes, but we kind of wanted to make them a little more fun and playful and human. Definitely contrasting to the like more uptight, larger development corporations. We wanted something to appeal to that like neighborhood feel where we're, you know, making sure that these one-time tenants can hopefully someday be future homeowners of their own neighborhood, and like bringing back to the people that they know who are going to be renovating these houses and doing the development work. It's really cool. So again, kind of focusing on that humanist attitude towards it. There was some of the previous work that was done was again like focused on these on like the work that was being done on the particular houses. The website and like these decks were very focused in on numbers and strategies, which is again very important, but something that we wanted to bring across was to make it again a little more personable so that they can stand out amongst their competition. So we worked together to put together a new deck template with a lot of these graphics that we developed, which are kind of like this really bright and colorful theme that like plays off some of the kind of favorite colors and playing off some of these like really great like people that are involved. So couple more examples of some of this presentation template. We came up with this color scheme and this this type scheme as well. All these, again, to the point earlier about the Heidelberg project, are all available on Google Fonts. So these are just like available, ready to go. Don't need to buy expensive fonts from expensivefonts.com. Also put together a trifold brochure for Motown Glory, something easy for them to develop and edit, and like giving them a set of templates that they can go forth and use for further connecting with partners, potential funders, and community members. Another shot of these brochures. And so now they also have a whole set of like graphical elements and things to play with that you can easily drop in. And one of the great things about using kind of these fun blocky shapes is that they're easy to edit and they're easy to use. They don't like require like Photoshop and everything in order to like get something looking nice. You can do it in Canva, you can do it in PowerPoint, and make something that looks really good. Also made a one-page flyer template for them to use and edit as well for posting and, you know, passing out, as well as in emails and stuff like that too. So yeah, that was the Motown Glory team. So thanks y'all for participating. It was really fun. I was happy I got to like poke a little bit on this project too and help out. So it was personally very fun for me. And then last but not least, Class Act Detroit. Who's going to be talking about Class Act?
Guys, I joined Class Act maybe a week after everybody started, so I'm just happy that they accepted me as their own. But it was amazing working with Maria, Marissa, and Richard on this project. And so my contribution was, if you go to the next slide.
Oh, first, I forgot to even mention what Class Act does too. Class Act, nonprofit focused on teaching kids about music and the arts. They've got the House of Hip Hop that they did 2 years ago. Is that right, Richard? You're on the call.
Yeah. So we're actually still putting together a capital campaign for that, but we've thankfully, been really blessed by the philanthropic community here in Detroit to, build it out even bigger. So yeah, I was super excited.
Yeah. Let's see that next slide.
So I focused on the website. Richard provided us with a branding guide. And so I basically took the little website and I just rebranded it. Didn't really change much of the content. But yeah, whoever created the branding guide did an excellent job. And so I just made sure it was accessible, that it was clear to read, and I just added on the branding. I wanted to add a little bit of animation, but some of the coding I did was not accepted by Safari, so I kept it simple.
Classic.
Safari's turning to an Explorer. Anyways, so I kept it simple, and then I just saw that probably some information was missing, and so I did some further research. If you go to the next slide. I did a flow chart. I basically embraced UX research. And so I did a flow chart, basically expanded upon the different users. I had a one-on-one with Richard talking about some of the goals that he had. And so I wanted to make sure that the content on the site would address some of those needs of his. And so I focused on the child, the parent, community member, employees, publicity, organizations that offer grants, and other nonprofits. And so I actually have one of my closest friends. She works for AmeriCorps. She's part of the grant process. And so I did an expert review or it's a research tool. And so I sat down with her, we went to the site, and she basically explained that not all grants look at the website, but when they do, she basically gave me like a laundry list of things and be on the site. So I will be sharing that information with the Charter probably tomorrow. But if we go to the next slide, just basically cover basically all the information each user type would need when they go to the site. And just also the things, so like emails, correspondence, just the stuff that would get them to the site, and then the correspondence that will happen after they've interacted with the site. So he'll also be getting this just so they can start to think about how to constantly have people access the website, constantly, have people engage and things like that. So it becomes more than a website, becomes somewhat of a business portal for him to run the organization through. And I think the next slide is for Maria, if you want to cover it. Yeah, it's Maria's work.
Okay, I can talk about this a little bit. So while Olivia worked on the website, I worked on some of the grant materials for House of Hip Hop. So Class Act Detroit is the organization. The dream is to build the House of Hip Hop, which would be a a multi-building facility for music production, hip hop, all of that good stuff. So the goal of this was to put together some kind of sort of extra looking hip hop materials here. As Olivia mentioned, they already had some brand guidelines with really bright, vibrant colors. And they also use these cutout images, which are a form of sampling, recontextualizing ideas and images into something new. And then we brought into, cutout images, right? So fun when your path doesn't have to be perfect. And then we added, we used the brand guidelines as a jumping off point, and we brought in these kind of like graffiti inspired graphics and kind of layered some things there. So next. And then also we put together some templates for some flyers to advertise different kinds of workshops. These could potentially become like A-frame signs, something like that. There's a couple of things we still need to get to. I know I need to make some templates. We also want to do some social media templates. That's something we didn't get to. And then the next images, Marisa DeSantis did these. This is where the House of Hip Hop comes in. This is the first time I'm seeing him, so I really can't say too much about it, but I'm glad they made it in. Yeah, they're very old school, very old school kind of 90s. That's sort of the vibe we were going for.
I love this one so much. These are great. Oh, cool. And that's all. All right. Well, anything else you want to say, Maria?
No,
Sorry.
thank you. It was so awesome working with Richard. He's doing such amazing work. It was great to work with Olivia, so I loved it. I'll come back next year.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, yeah, and also just I'm really happy to see some of that UX experience in there as well. Like it's funny, you don't often get to see the flow charts and everything like that, but boy, that's like the real heart of good like web design and good like experience design. So I'm happy you got to do a little bit of that and get some actual like expert feedback too. So great job, everyone. Well, wonderful. That brings us to the end of our presentations. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in, seeing a little bit about like what our volunteers have been up to for the past month. Don't worry, we'll be back for more great Design for Good programs here in the future. And we hope if you liked what you saw and you want to participate, reach out to AIJ Detroit. We'll get you on our list for our next Design for Good activities. Again, huge thanks to the volunteers and the nonprofits for making this happen. We really, really appreciate all of you so very much. And you've given so much back to the community in just a short amount of time. And I hope that we get to see your work out in public very, very soon. All right, everyone. Cool. I'm going to end the live stream now.